Good day! Welcome to Science 5, Quarter 2, Week 1. Our topic for this week is about human reproductive system. Ginawa ang video na to upang matulungan kayo na mas maintindihan ang ating lesson. Handa na ba kayong matuto? Let's start! You came from your parents. Chicks came from their parent chickens. This plant came from its parent plant. People, animals, and plants have something in common. Ano ang kanilang pagkakapareho? They all reproduce. Kakayahan na magparami. People, animals, and plants are all living things. Ang lahat ng may buhay ay mayroong kakayahang magparami. Ang tawag dito ay reproduction. Reproduction is the process by which organism produces more of its kind. Reproduction is an important part of life of all living things because it ensures the continuity of life. Mahalaga ang reproduction dahil sa prosesong ito ay masisiguro natin ang pagpapatuloy ng buhay ng bawat nilalang. Have you ever wondered how people multiply? Paano nga ba dumarami ang mga tao? Anong mayroon sa babae at lalaki upang maipagpatuloy nito ang salinlahi ng mga tao? Ito ang tinatawag na human reproductive system. Sa mga lalaki, ang tawag dito ay male reproductive system. Sa mga babae naman ay female reproductive system. Makikita ito sa gawing ibabang parte ng ating katawan. The male reproductive system. It is specifically responsible for producing sperm cells and hormones. Sperm cell is needed to fertilize an egg cell. Hormones are responsible for the development of adult male characteristics. Pagsapit ng tinatawag na puberty stage, ang hormones na nagmumula sa pituitary gland ay nagkakaroon ng malaking gampanin sa pagbabagong pisikal ng mga lalaki. Ilan sa mga ito ay ang paglaki ng boses at pagkakaroon ng tinatawag na Adam's apple. Ito ang tinatawag na secondary male characteristics. Sperm. Sperm is the male reproductive cell. A male can produce numerous sperm cells. An average man can have approximately 5 million in a single drop of his semen. Out of these millions of sperm cells, only one is needed to fertilize an egg. Kung tutuusin, sa dinami-dami ng sperm cells na nanggagaling sa semen ng mga lalaki, isa lang talaga ang kailangan para makapag-fertilize ng egg cell. Ano bang itsura ng sperm cell? This is the graphical representation of the sperm cell. Meron siyang head, meron din siyang tail. Ang tail ang tumutulong sa kanya para mabilis siyang makakilos. This is what the male reproductive system looks like. Ano-ano nga ba ang mga parts and function ng bawat parts na yan? Testes or testicles. Testes are the primary male reproductive organs. They have two very important functions. Kung nakikita mo sa picture, may dalawang parang bola o itlog. Yan ang tinatawag na testes. Singular is testis. Testes are glands that produce the sperm cells and male sex hormone called testosterone. Kanina, narinig na ninyo yung sperm cells at saka yung male sex hormone. So dito nanggagaling o dito pinoproduce sa testes ang sperm cells at ang male sex hormone na tinatawag na testosterone. Next part is the epididymis. Epididymis are long and narrow coiled tubes that store sperm cells until they mature. Parang refrigerator ang epididymis. Kasi once na na-produce or na-produce ito ng testes, ito naman ay mapupunta sa epididymis. Diyan lang muna yan hanggang ito ay mag-mature. Next part is the vas deferens. The vas deferens is a long muscular tube that serves as the passageway of the sperm cells released from the testes. Kung titignan natin, mahaba ang daanan o passageway ng mga sperm cells na nagmumula sa testes. Vas deferens connects the testes to the seminal vesicles and the urethra. Next part is the seminal vesicle. The seminal vesicles are sac-like pouches attached to the vas deferens. It contributes to the semen production, a sugar-rich fluid which provides energy for the sperm cells' motility, allowing them to move freely. So halos 70% ng fluid ay nagmumula dito sa seminal vesicle. So ito ang nagbibigay ng tinatawag na fructose or yung sugar-rich fluid para magbigay ng energy sa mga sperm cell nang sa ganon ay magkaroon sila ng kakayahan na makakilos ng mabilis. Prostate gland. The prostate gland is gland located between the bladder and the penis. It produces fluid that nourishes and protects the sperms. Tuloy-tuloy lang ang mga sperm cell. Kanina, pagkagaling nila dun sa may seminal vesicles, dun sila dediretso sa may prostate gland. Sa prostate gland, tuloy-tuloy yung pagpoproduce ng fluid para mas lalo silang manorish, mas lalo silang lumakas. At the same time, sa prostate gland, dito nare-release yung fluid na pwedeng mag-protect sa sperm cells. Next is the urethra. The urethra in males is the passageway of both urine from urinary bladder and semen from the glands. Passageway o daanan lang din yan. Ang dumadaan dito sa urethra dalawa, urine o ihi at ang semen ng mga lalaki. Binago ko yung picture para sa susunod na mga parts nang makita nyo ng mas mabuti. Next part is the penis. Penis is the external male organ with a tip called glans. It is covered with foreskin that may be removed through circumcision. Sa penis, sa dulo niyan, ay nandoon yung tinatawag na glans. Once na bata pa or hindi pa tuli ang mga lalaki, nako-cover lang yan ng skin. Kapag inalis yung skin na yan, ito ay lalabas. Yung pag-aalis or removal of skin from the glans is what we call circumcision. Sa Tagalog, ito yung tinatawag na pagtutuli. Next part is the scrotum. Scrotum is a pair of pouch-like sacs that contains the testes. Lalagyanan, pouch-like sacs. Sa loob ng lalagyanan na yan, nandoon ang testes. So, ang ibig sabihin nito, ang scrotum is another external part of the male reproductive system. Makikita rin natin yan. Pwedeng mahawakan. Yan yung balat na parang kulubot sa mga lalaki. It also protects and controls the testes temperature because they must be slightly cooler than the body to produce sperm cells. So, yung scrotum na yan, dito nababalot ang testes. Ito ang nagiging protection at ito rin at the same time ang nagko-control sa testes temperature. Last part is the bulbourethral gland. The bulbourethral gland is also known as the Cowper's gland. It is one of the pea-sized organs found beneath the prostate gland. It is responsible for releasing fluid that flushes out foreign matters and neutralizes the acidic urine in the urethra. Dito sa may bulbourethral gland or the Cowper's gland, mas maliit siya compare doon sa may prostate gland. Sa bulbourethral gland, nagsisikretin siya ng fluid para sa daraanan ng sperm cell, alisin nito yung mga foreign material na pwedeng humarang sa dadaanan niya. There you have it, the parts and function of the male reproductive system. Isa-isahin ulit natin. So, we will going to start doon sa male external organ. What do we call to the male external organ? It's the penis. At the tip of the penis, we have the glans. And then the part where the urine and the semen comes out, okay, the urethra. And then this is the sac-like pouch that protects the testes. the scrotum. How about the part that produces the hormone and the sperm cell? Testes. At the top of the testes is what we call the epididymis. Next to the epididymis is the long and narrow passageway for the sperm cell. We call that vas deferens. The next part, it secretes fluid that protects the sperm cell, the prostate gland. How about the gland that secretes almost 70% of fluid that gives nourishment to the sperm cells? That is the seminal vesicle. And then the last part, which is also known as the Cowper's gland, it is the bulbourethral gland. Female reproductive system. It is specifically responsible for producing egg cells and supporting a developing baby inside the mother's womb. Egg cell. Egg cell is the female reproductive cell. This is the biggest cell in the female human body. The egg cell is only 1/10 of a millimeter, about the size of the diameter of a hair strand. This is what the egg cell looks like. Sa mga babae lang ito makikita. And this is what the female reproductive system looks like. Now, what are the parts and function of the female reproductive system? Kung i-compare natin ang female reproductive system sa male reproductive system, mas kaunti ang ating kikilalaning mga parts. First part is what we call the uterus. The uterus, also called the womb, is a hollow muscular organ that is shaped like an inverted pear. Kung babaliktarin natin yung pear, ganyan ang shape ng uterus. It is the part of the female reproductive system in which a baby grows. It is above the vagina. Sa uterus, dito lumalaki yung baby. Dito siya nag-grow. Dito siya nagde-develop. It is stretchable. Uterus receives a fertilized egg and protects the fetus while it grows and develops. The uterus contracts to push the baby out of the body during birth. It is about 7 centimeters long and 5 centimeters across at the widest point. Sa uterus, kapag na-fertilize ang egg, dito siya pupunta. So katulad ng sinasabi ko kanina, dito siya ina-nourish, dito siya ide-develop. Pagka lalabas na ang fetus, magko-contract yung uterus para mailabas niya yung nasa loob. Next part is the fallopian tube. The fallopian tubes, also known as uterine tubes, are tubes that stretch from the uterus to the ovaries. The fallopian tubes lead the egg from the ovary to the uterus. This is also the usual site of the fertilization of the egg cell and sperm cell. Females have 2 fallopian tubes, each connecting to an ovary to the side of the uterus. Ang fallopian tube parang meeting place between the sperm cell and the egg cell. Si egg cell, hihintayin niya si sperm cell sa kanilang tagpuan, which is the fallopian tube. Pagka nandoon si egg cell at natyempohan siya ni sperm cell, pwedeng ma-fertilize ang egg dito. Ovary. The ovary produces egg cells as well as the female sex hormones estrogen and progesterone. Female humans have 2 ovaries. About 70% potential egg cells are present in the ovaries of a female when she is born. Yung ovaries ng babae, ang counterpart niya sa mga lalaki ay testes. Kung merong inilalabas na reproductive cell at hormones ang lalaki, mayroon din sa babae. So dito nagmumula ang female sex cell, which is the egg cell, at saka yung female sex hormones na tinatawag na estrogen and progesterone. Ang babae, kapag ka ito ay ipinanganak, meron na kaagad siyang 70% potential egg cells. Pero kapag sumapit sa puberty stage ang babae, doon lang magsisimulang mag-mature ang mga ovaries na yan. However, only about 500 of these eggs will mature. The mature egg are released one by one every month once the female reaches puberty and until she is about 43 to 55 years old. The mature egg cell leaves the ovary through the fallopian tube. Doon sa may 70,000 egg cells, there are only 500 egg cells na pwedeng mag-mature. Once na sumapit ang babae sa puberty stage hanggang sa bago siya mag-menopause. Yung 500 mature egg cells na yan, i-release yan isa-isa lang. So, isang egg cell lang ang pwedeng lumabas sa ovary kada buwan. Next part is the cervix. Cervix is a narrow opening between the uterus and the vagina. It is also called the neck of the uterus. During childbirth, it expands to allow the passage of the baby. So, narrow opening, ibig sabihin, hindi yan malapad. Makitid yung daanan na yan. Next part is the vagina. The vagina is a hollow muscular tube that extends from the cervix to the vaginal opening called vulva. It expands to let the baby pass during normal delivery. It is also called the birth canal. So, dito lumalabas ang bata kapag ito ay isisilang na. Additional part for the female reproductive system is what we call the FIMBRIAE. The FIMBRIAE is a finger-like structure at the end of the fallopian tube which helps the egg cell in going to the uterus. FIMBRIAE is a finger-like structure. Para siyang mga kamay. Kapag lumabas ang mature egg cell mula sa ovary, sasaluhin niya ito. Sa fallopian tube ay may mga cilia o yung mga hair-like structure na parang winawalis naman niya yung mature egg cell para makarating ito papunta sa may uterus. So, sasaluhin ng FIMBRIAE, tapos tutulungan ng cilia para ito ay gumulong makarating sa uterus. So, those are the parts of the female reproductive system. Let's identify them again. We have the vagina. Next to the vagina is the narrow opening, which is called the neck of the uterus. That is the cervix. Next part is where the estrogen and progesterone and the egg cell are produced. The ovary. Next is the meeting place for the egg cell and the sperm cell. The fallopian tube. Next part is what we call the womb, the uterus. And then, our additional part, the finger-like structure, the FIMBRIAE.